Welcome to the tomb of illumination. More information on the realm we live in today. Have you all caught this video by flat water? An old map the French drew up in 1766. They knew the whole system. They knew that everything expanded out south, and they understood that there's several ways to consider Earth. Okay, so check out that video. I'll put a link in the when I post it. But here's a little bit here for you. Listen up. It's on. Why isn't it moving? Oh, turn right down. How'd that happen?
Without any further ado, let's begin. This planisphere is the result of the physical views which we reported in the Memoirs of the Academy of Sciences, 1762. We made here various additions to make it of a more general utility and give it to apply to the study of geography. Because of all of the ways to consider the Earth, the first must be that which examines its natural or physical state. Now we see in this plan that independent...
Okay, they understand there's plenty of ways to imagine the Earth. You can imagine it as the Gleason map, the expansion outwards. It all correlates with the arcs of longitude. You can correlate, and you can use that, correlate the system with the Mercator map, because as you expand out southward, it's all relative to the observer, so no matter how this expands, you've expanded with the field, so your time travelled between the arcs is all equal. This is why you come back to the Mercator map, which has the big flat map with the big parallel lines of longitude. And back in the day, they also considered Earth as a cylinder, a long cylinder. And if you think about it, you can understand why. So he goes to talk about the expansion of the southern hemisphere. And also, I'll just show you another video in a minute regarding something. Oh, this guy here, Thomas Dolby, Flat Earth Lecture, mentions he states everything expands southward as you go south. Everything expands as you move south. This is what I've been putting in my videos in the last month or two. Mentioning that, trying to tell people why. I've probably been speaking about it for a couple of years now. So, yeah, it's just stuck on YouTube. Everybody's going on about flight times. It's all there. Everything expands as you move south. So it's all relative to the observer. From there to there is the same time as it takes from there to there. So just get that in your heads. We'll share that with people who can't get in their heads. So that's 120. I'll go to 240, which is interesting. Here we go.
The point of view of the Earth, which presents itself here from the northern pole, extends regularly to Ecuador or the equator, but the inferior hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, is only seen by a supposed development where we were careful not to disfigure land. This is why we did not think we have to follow the geometric ways absolutely in this regard. So you can see right there that they're admitting that the size of the southern hemisphere should be much larger, but that they had to shrink it in order to fit with what they believed, even though they know it's incorrect. The road which ends our knowledge towards...
Okay, it proves the expansion, or it's more evidence that everything expands outwards. And if I was to create a flat Earth map, it would have to be at least like 2 meters square, so we could understand everything in the northern hemisphere, because it all shrinks back like this. So you can imagine how big this area right here is going to be. You know, we've got this size. It's not too bad. I mean, that's as good as you can get, I suppose. Decent map. Close enough. So you just correlate with the arcs of longitude. time over distance is all equal. All the way back here. Fly from there to there, equal time from flying there to there. But for scale, we'll hear the scale on that map there, or this way for latitude. But for this way, I think you're going to have to, explode it up some more to understand. Not sure how that will work because it's all expanding as you go south. I don't know how you can work that scale out. That's that, and then go back to this video here. Thomas Dolby. So check that out. What does he say? Everything expands south as you move. Everything expands as you move south. Okay? Now, understanding this expansion south. What do they have in the mythological stories or Christianity? The double-sided sword. It's looking down the saw blade. Two sides of the blade, right? Well, it's all in here. Out from the centre north rotation, tropical gap, and there's your parabolic reflection back to you, back to the observer, a circle, which is the same rotating image of the northern sky. The same image cast down into the southern sky like this because of the concavity here. So you have to imagine this, and this takes you back to crystals, crystalline structure, eye made of crystals. You've got their third eyes crystal-like. You've got the eyeball of the fish, so not sure. I think the human eye is a bit different to the fish though, but it's about crystals. And what are the Egyptians telling us? We live in the eye of Ra, or telling you about the eye of Ra. So you have to imagine it. All these slices all around the northern hemisphere projected out to there. Although they expand out like this, you've got to consider this as well. And this is why they fold it back and create the globe idea and tell you live on that spinning ball globe. Okay? Because they think humans are a bit simple, they can't explain the full thing to them, so they think, oh well, we'll set up the scam, we'll get full control of their minds, and then get them to pay us to make up all these big stories NASA's doing, and we can pocket 80% of the money and feed a little bit out as though we're actually doing something. That's how it goes. So let's talk about the central vortex and what it's doing, how it's driving the main Milky Way, which comes out of the centre down into here, where we see a sun. We see the sun there moving around the tropical gap. As the black hole's turning, the whole vortex is turning. It's driving the Milky Way around. The umbilical cord is just moving around, and because the sun is projected out like a kneecap, I haven't drawn it right, but the sun's being projected out, and as it's turning, you're getting your 24-hour day, aren't you? Back on this side of that kneecap is the night time, and that's when we see the Milky Way, obviously. So you break this down to a smaller Milky Way, one in each hemisphere. They don't tell you that. The sun's and a lemma on each side as well. But we see these Milky Ways down here on our arc of horizon. That's where we see it. So, like he said, because of many ways to consider the Earth, it's not straightforward. Only a drongo thinks he can describe it in one spinning ball and make you think you live on it. That's what we call globies. The central vortex of a creation is always turning via convection, driven by the winds, and the Earth's magnetic field is in the wind. As the vortex turns, it drives the Milky Way around the rim which projects daytime out into our created realm, like a clock hand on an unseen clock arm. But realize the sun is being created by the magnetic induction in the tropical gap between the two poles of magnetism. Cancer and Capricorn, the tropical line, are the metaphysical capacitor plates of iron in the atmosphere, fine particles you could say. The tropical gap is the neutral space between the North Pole and South Pole of the magnet, the avoidance zone, also known as a black hole, and the secret place of singularity. Without this, both poles would merge and all life would cease to exist. There has to be that avoidance zone, everything's moving around. It may have movement around the avoidance zone without the sun, without the spark, it would have just been magnetism. But without the sun, there is no life we exist in. It is the sun that represents the perfect frequency of our realm, our life, all living things. So I think it was what you'd call chaos before the frequency hit the right frequency and the sun was created, because that set everything in the right motion. The infinity symbol and everything set everything on its path to create life. It's all described in the Bible, actually, in Genesis, if you understand it. I've done a couple of little videos trying to decipher it. So I want to go to the double-sided sword. Slice of the northern pie are star rotations in the south. You're getting a slice of the pie out here. So you're getting your southern rotation, which is a parabolic image of what you're getting back here. So if you're only getting these stars, if you watch them, I think they only do 120 degrees, I think it is, before they disappear on the rotation. They don't do a full 360 because they're moving in from the east into that rotation and moving out. You don't see it unless on Star Trail, that is. But if you do it with a time star tracker next to your star trail, you can see a star in here drift out, and you can watch it moving all the way to the west, while the other camera is still focused on this circle. It straight away destroys the globe. There's two 15-degree motions, one this way and this one around here. We keep talking about that because, oh, your Earth's spinning, so if you look that way and you look that way, there's that, and all this garbage. But you know, you've got this here and that, so that ruins the globe idea. Now 120, think whatever it is, then you are only getting that degree slice of the northern pie. So you're only getting this portion in here as this rotation. You've got to think about it. I mean, you're not getting the whole rotation here, so how can you get it here? But you've just got to think about it. It's forever turning, always turning, and you've got to think of this system here. Tricky. See, the magnetic field comes and merges. They merge like this. They all build up the energy on the capacitor plates either side of the tropics. So there's no curving magnetic field line between the tropics. It's just a direct path if you use a compass because of the field on both sides. Now, you've got to imagine, you've got to realise you could say that the positive and the negative coming around on this magnetic field. Think of the electrical as well. They're on that field, and the negative or the positive coming around like this to meet. You know, it's magnetic induction though, north and south pole coming around. So coming around is the sun on that line. We see images of the sun. There's suns in many places but only seen in one, your arc of horizon. So you've got to think of this always turning, and that's where the voltage is. Bang, that's where the sun will be. In the centre here, as it's all turning, it's bringing the sun around like this. This moves around as these are merging like this. So the sun is always at the end of the Milky Way though. It's got its own so you can draw the Milky Way in here, and it's moving around. Okay, so this sun image is at the end of the Milky Way, the male end. The female end goes straight down inside the vortex in here. You see that at night. You see the whole thing at night, actually. It's the whole, because the sun's facing the other way. So the sun's created in here. So we're going to see the sun. And one question was from Gretchen. How do we see the sun in the tropics if it's not on the magnetic line? Because that's where the sun is on the magnetic field. And there's no magnetic field in the tropics. But you've got to realise that this energy is creating the voltage in the centre here. So, but either way, you'll be looking, you know, if you're just either side of the equator, you're going to be seeing that on the south side, you're going to be seeing this southern movement, or if you're on the north side, it's going to be coming the other way. So I wonder, if at certain times, where's the line where you can actually see, if you could see the sun there and the sun there, but it's obviously not a thing because no one's ever talked about it. But there must be a fine line between seeing the sun come around this way and seeing the sun come around this way as you stand between both hemispheres. So this is the only way I can explain why you're getting the sun here. Or it's due to this, the two fields creating the sun in the middle and moving it around in here. And it will move out in that area, in that zone as well, because of the expansion and contraction over the year, the season. I haven't got into depth with that yet because it's going to expose everything. You're going to freak out when I do that. But jump on my Patreon if you want to find that out, because I'm just waiting for 100 people to jump on there. Then I'll start feeding everybody the information they're looking for. Okay. And when it comes to Greenwich Mean, the international timeline, they've put through Greenwich there. You've got to realise the way I see it, originally it went through Egypt. You take your flat earth map, put it the right way, I think back in the day they had international, it's there now, it's there. It must go through England, does it? Need some light in here. Where's England? Over there somewhere. Okay, so they've got it coming through here. Back in the day, it was over here, went straight through. Look, 3 pyramids of Cairo. 45 degrees on these arcs of longitude now. And I understand this, but no one's going to understand what I'm talking about. But the whole religious story and the whole divine story of Jesus and that all concerned the full moon in Pisces. And I refer it all back to 2017. And where was the full moon of Pisces? It was right there. And look, it goes right through. The sun was directly over the 3 pyramids of Cairo, Khufu, Khafre in particular, because Khafre is the sun pyramid. And there's a passage in the Myths of Babylon that actually describe that too, but that's on my Patreon, so jump on my Patreon. Okay, I go into more depth and all this sort of stuff over on my Patreon. This is something I'll throw in there. Understanding the rotation, southern field, moving around the central north. The most divine period is having the 3 wise men lining up in here. That's representing Khufu, Khafre. You could say no, Menkaure and Khufu, or the Sun and Venus and Mercury. Because Mercury represents Mercury anyway. But over here in the pyramid idea, they've got the Moon, the Sun, Moon, Sun, you know. Because this alignment, like I just showed on that map, was the Moon and the Sun and the light of man, the Sun, S-O-N, in the whole religious story. There's the centre that comes right through. So you've got the Moon, well, you could say the Moon, the actual Sun of creation's in there, but you've got the Sun we see, the Moon we see out here, passing through the centre, which is the Father, the main entity, and there's the Sun, S-O-N, to be born. The three wise men that come along, give the gifts to the man, the enlightened man. So check out that, Thomas Dolby, Flat Earth Lecture 1984. It goes way back, telling you about the expansion. Basically, they knew about the expansion back there. It's just all bullshit now. People thinking they live on a spinning ball. Okay, thanks for watching. Put a likes up and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe because this channel's going nowhere. Cheers.